I hope you don't mind, but this is what I want to do tonight. I want to watch paint dry together so I can paint my miniatures and know kind of what I'm doing. We're watching the Necron tutorials because that'll be my first miniatures. And I know about base coats. Wait, I know about primers, base coats, dry brushing, washes. Is there a top coat? I literally feel like it's just doing my nails. I know how to paint nails. You can do a top coat. Can you like mattify them? Can you like paint them with a matte coat or a glossy coat? Highlights and varnish. Same, yeah. They do make matte top coats. Hell yeah. See, I know what I'm doing. I know how to paint nails. I kind of know what I'm doing. A little different on like a skeleton man, but...
In this tutorial, I'm going to be showing you all the skills and techniques needed to get your Necrons finished and painted from the Warhammer starter sets.
Let's go! We're gonna paint some Necrons! We're gonna do all the coats. We're gonna do 2 more coats, and then we're gonna do 2 more coats, and then we're gonna do 2 more coats, and then we're gonna do 2 more coats. And then we'll probably do 2 more coats. I use an airbrush for mine. Oh, that reminds me. Another quick tangent. I was wondering how you get glow effects. I saw this really cool mini. I think it was a World Eater mini, and he was riding like a wolf. And he had like these glowing parts on him. And you guys in Discord were telling me it was airbrushed. And it looked so good. It looked so good. It literally looked like it was glowing. I was shocked. I literally thought it was glowing. I'm like, do some of these models glow? Because it looked so nice.
Welcome to Tabletop Ready. My name's Michael, and in this tutorial, I'm going to be showing you how to finish painting your Necrons from the 40k starter sets.
Yay!
So this tutorial is a continuation from my getting started with...
If I was to play this tabletop, do I need terrain? Not in the beginning, but yes. Oh, okay. Like it serves a purpose in the game. Soda cans and books work at first. Oh, okay. So it's kind of like D&D, where you don't need the fancy terrain, but you can like imagination it. Imagination. The problem with no terrain is that you can just shoot at whatever. Oh, yeah, that makes sense. Okay.
40k video where I showed you how to get your Necrons painted, ready for using on the tabletop. I now want to show you how to get them finished and the techniques and skills you need so you can continue to paint even more Necrons and grow your collection.
Hehe, more.
I'll put the brushes and paints I use in this tutorial in the description below, as well as putting them on the screen when I use them. If you enjoy my content, please give this video a like and let me know in the comments below. And if you want to help support what I do, you can become a channel member, or you can join my Patreon, which I'll also link in the description.
What a great idea, painting tutorials. Like, this is so helpful. This is the kind of content I want to make. I want to make like helpful content and useful content that people can actually use. I'm just a girl that talks a lot. But I would like to make some actual useful content to help people. I think this is a great idea.
I really appreciate any help and support, and it goes a long way to growing the channel and allows me to keep improving the content I create for you. And I massively appreciate the continued support from these amazing people as well. I would especially like to thank Gus and Roy Olivares, who have recently become my latest patrons. Thank you so much. I'm going to be showing you how to paint the Necrons in a certain order, so you can get to grips with what I'm showing you more easily. And by the time I've finished showing you everything I think you'll need to know, you should have the knowledge and confidence to get your Necrons finished, and also be able to build your collection.
Yay!
Our Necrons are already built and should already have some base colours on them, which I showed you how to do in my game.
Oh, he did the base colors already. I missed that part. He made them glowy already. Okay. Okay, I missed that part, but base coat. I understand a base coat. Firstly, if you want to make helpful content, what's stopping you? Secondly, you say just talk a lot like it's worthless. It isn't. It's quite the achievement to be able to make people happy. Oh, thanks, Fullreg. What's stopping me? Honestly, time and coming up with a good idea. And fear of failure. Fear of failure, probably, mostly. But I'm glad that you guys like my yapping. If I can make people happy sharing this hobby, that's happy for me. I'm glad.
Getting started with the 40k video. So let's quickly go over what we've already done with our Necrons, so you know you're ready to carry on with this tutorial. We first undercoated the Necrons using Chaos Black Spray. We then used some lead Boucher and used a dry brush technique all over the Necrons, so we can better see all the details underneath the main body sections.
Oh, that's what they use it for. The dry brushing brings out all the details so you can paint it easier. It also looks like kind of metallic, which works for Necrons because they're not fleshy. They don't got fleshy bits.
After that was done, we picked out all the details using Runelord Brass, Lead Voucher, Abaddon Black, Retributor Armour, and Tesseract Glow over Corax White where we wanted this.
Whoa! That looks so cool! Tesseract Glow over white to make it like fluorescent. That looks really cool. An old bone themed Necron would go hard. That would go hard! That would go so hard!
Cool energy glow. As well as using the paints we have from the paints and tools set, we are going to be using additional paints and brushes throughout this tutorial. I have been very careful in the choice of colours though, and only picked the essential colours I think you'll need and that you'll find yourself using often. The first thing we're going to do is paint a couple more base colours using paints.
Oh, one thing I've noticed. Do you have to stick it to the base? Like, is this like putty or something? I've noticed on a few miniatures it looks like they're stuck to the base with like putty or something. Yes? Oh, it's temporary. It's a tactical rock. Oh, okay. I wondered if they didn't come together. You super glue it on. Whoa! Oh man, that's dangerous. I don't have a good track record with super glue. That might be an interesting stream.
Which were not included in the paints and tools set. The first additional base colour we want to add is Canoptech Alloy, and we're going to be painting this on all the shoulder plates and heads of our Necrons.
Oh?
If you want to, you can leave them Runelord Brass.
Does that make it sparkly? After that beginner guide here, if you want to see some real cool painting but not beginner friendly, look up L miniatures. Okay, I'll look that up.
The other base colour we want to paint is Warpstone Glow, and this is used on any of the cables around the miniatures. Painting these extra colours on our Necrons will make it easier to pick out these details against everything else and make them look more interesting. Whilst painting, remember to thin your paints and paint in multiple thin layers so we don't lose any detail on our miniatures. And once we've finished doing that, we've got all our base colours down and we can start creating some definition.
Always thin your paints. That's what people were telling me in Discord. Thin your paints. I totally would have forgotten that. What do you thin it with? Like oil or something? Well, it's kind of like oil painting. You should thin your paints so they're not just blobby. You can just thin them with water or something? Okay.
In this section, I'll be going over creating definition and how we can use the shades to make the details easier to see.
Ooh, that looks nice.
Even though our Necrons are fully painted and have lots of colours on them, they do look pretty flat. This is because there is no definition. We want to create definition to bring out all the details on our miniatures so they look less flat and more interesting to look at. So let me show you some things we can do to create that definition. The first way is to simply apply some shade to an area. Let's start off using some Nuln Oil, applying this over all the silver details.
Okay.
When applying a shade, we only want to use enough to cover the area comfortably, as we don't want the shade to pull up too much in those areas. Any excess can be removed using your brush. Once the shade is dried, you can see that where it's settled, it's a lot darker than the more flatter areas, giving us that definition. Shades are a great way to create definition very easily and quickly on our miniatures. But I do want to show you what else we can do with them and how we can use them to make our Necrons look more interesting.
Yeah.
Our Necrons aren't going to be looking very factory fresh, considering they're ancient and have been gathering dirt and dust underground for eons.
True.
To help age our Necrons and create some grime, but again also create that definition we're after, let's use some Agrax Earthshade as an all over wash.
That is amazing! That just totally changed the game right there. Holy! That added so much to that. It looks alive now compared to before. Shade paints equals liquid talent? Oh. I feel like I'm painting that makes me Picasso. Just adding that on. Shade washes are cheat codes? I mean, it looks amazing!
Before we apply the shade, we want to thin it down with an equal amount of water.
Okay.
This is going to weaken the strength of the Agrax Earthshade so it doesn't overpower the colours we've already painted. Once the shade is dry, you can see that it's helped dull down the metal, giving it some age but still creating definition where it's dried in recesses and around details. One of the other things we can use the shades for is to create different coloured tones, and to do this on our Necrons, let's use some Right Flesh shade as it is and apply this only to half of the body sections.
Oh, so you're creating like natural highlights with that, because you're darkening the darker areas and leaving the middle brighter, so it's creating like a natural highlight. So is this the same as a wash, or is this like a liquid paint that's different than a base? It's a wash, okay. So then I'm assuming you can paint a wash and then you can like, what's it called? Like dab it to give it texture if you want it? It's a flesh wash. It's a fleshy one.
And when this is dried, you should be able to see the cool effect it's given us, like the metal has been exposed to heat and the elements. With that done, let's use Right Flesh shade on any gold details.
Oh!
And finally, Norn oil can be used again on all the cables we painted Warpstone Glow. Using different coloured shades really helps to create more variety and interest on our miniatures.
It's making it look aged, especially on the gold, it makes it look aged. Washes are thinner and more translucent paints. You can't really build up structure with those. Wash, let it dry, then highlight over the dried wash to create big highlights.
You should now understand and be able to use the different coloured shades to create some interesting effects on our miniatures. Now we've learned how to create some definition on miniatures, we're able to bring out all those details, making them easier to see. The next thing we can do to bring out all those features and details even more is to highlight.
Yay! I love highlights! Highlights are when everything comes together. It's like the finishing touch. It's like when you get a tattoo and they do the white at the end, it highlights it all and brings it to life. Or like when you put mascara on, it brings everything together. It brings the whole makeup look together.
In this section, I want to show you how we can create some highlights, and how we can also use highlights to make things glow.
Okay.
When light shines on something, we're able to see the details and areas more easily where that light hits an object. Let's see how we can replicate this on our miniatures. When painting miniatures, the idea is to create shadows and highlights, because this is how we see things in real life. And fundamentally, this is what miniature painters are always trying to do. So we learn about dry brushing when painting the Necrons in the Getting Started video, and we can use the same technique to create some highlights on our miniatures. Let's use a small dry brush this time so we can be more precise with the dry brushing. The colour we're using is Runefang Steel, and just like before, remove as much of the paint as you can until it's no longer coming off onto the paper towel. Remember to take more care with the dry brush this time and build it up slowly, because we don't want to get it all over the work we've already done. Being more intentional with this dry brush, we can get some highlights on details easily.
Oh my god, that would be scary. You spend all this time and you get everything done, and then you're like, I'm going in with a dry brush, and if I fuck this up, it's over. It's over. It's so over for me. I did that 25 minutes ago. You just gotta keep going. I feel like the hardest part about being an artist, not to say I am an artist, I like art, but I'm not an artist. The hardest part is knowing when to stop. You'll just keep messing with it forever because it'll never look finished. Eventually you just have to be like, that's it, I'm done. I'm done. I'm not touching it anymore. I'm done.
Highlighting your miniatures really does make a massive difference, and I would always encourage people to give it a go. And you can carry on and continue to use the dry brushing method to highlight all your Necrons, but I do want to show you the more traditional way of highlighting as well, so you have the choice. To show you the more traditional method of highlighting, I'm going to be using the Scorpet Destroyers, because they're bigger and chunkier, giving us a great opportunity to practice this technique.
Ooh, they're bigger and chunkier. I had that happen to me on one of my best models, but it's when I went to seal it in a matte varnish. Oh my gosh, that is heartbreaking. How did the varnish wreck it? What, isn't varnish clear? Did it just get goopy or something? That is very sad, all those hours, and then it gets wrecked at the very last step. The Varnish King Cloud.
Let's get ready to highlight with our small A brush using Runefang Steel. Let's thin this down on our palette first of all.
Okay.
And for highlighting, I only use a small amount of water this time. We then want to remove some of the paint from our brush on some paper towel. This is going to give us more control and prevent painting thick blobby lines, which we don't want. When painting highlights, the easiest and quickest way to paint them is with the side of your brush. First, angle your brush.
Wow! That is some sharp highlight right there. That really makes a difference.
Brush against an edge and run the brush along it to create the highlight. For the edges you can't do this, just take your time painting thin lines along those edges to create the highlight.
Okay.
Remember, removing that excess paint first will prevent those thick blobby lines.
Whoa!
Just take your time.
What a glow up! Dude got such a glow up from that. He's got frosted tips now. Dang, he looks good. That really, wow. He looks so much better with the highlight. Look at those cheekbones. He's serving.
There's no rush, and for any lines that we're not completely happy with, we can just neaten them up using some Rune Lord brass. Hopefully you can see that painting your highlights is achievable, even as a beginner. But if
He's mewing. I can't.
If you do struggle with it, you can always just stick to the dry brushing method. Now you've had some practice highlighting, let's highlight the gun casing. Let's tidy things up with some Abaddon Black if you need to.
Okay.
We can then use Dawnstone to highlight the casing. I'm using a dry brush, but you can edge highlight if you want to. I now want to show you how we can make our glowy areas more glowy. Let's start by using Moot Green and highlight the edges around all the orbs around the body. We do this exactly how we highlighted the Destroyer body, and this makes it look more like the green light is hitting the edges around it. The orbs we don't want to do this around is the orbs on the Gauss Flare, as we want a more subtle transition from the black to Moot Green. To help with this, we can use Warpstone Glow first of all, which is going to give us a softer glow effect. We want to make the lines a bit thicker this time though, so we can still see them once we've painted the Moot Green. Now paint a thinner highlight using Moot Green like we previously did for the other orbs.
Oh, okay. You know, I was skeptical. I was like, where are we going with this? I don't like it, but it's coming together. It's coming together. Trust the process. I oversprayed the varnish on a Gundam I had done a custom paint scheme on. I was so upset. He's still foggy to this day. So if you put too much varnish on, it gets foggy? Oh, that's scary. Oh, that's scary. That's the final step.
I understand that this is a more difficult technique to do, but it is still achievable for new painters. And you can, if you want to, leave painting the glow effects for later when you feel more confident in the hobby. There's no rush. Let's finish this section highlighting the green cables. First paint a thick highlight using Warpstone Glow along the cable, and then a thinner highlight using Moot Green to finish. With that done, you should have a better idea of how we can highlight our miniatures and how we can use the same technique to create some source lighting and glow effects. Let me now show you how to get everything fully painted.
Okay. Getting all the Necrons finished. Okay.
In this section, let me show you what else you need to know
Whoa.
to get your Necrons fully painted. Because our Necrons are all very similar and share the same kinds of details, we can use what we've learned already to get everything painted. But there are still a couple of things that you'll want to know how to paint, and that includes all the blades on the Scorpec Destroyers and Necron Overlord. So you should have already painted any blades using Tesseract Glow over Corax White, which I showed you in the Getting Started with 40k tutorial. Now we
So if you put it over the white, it makes it look more fluorescent because it has a lighter base color, I'm guessing. But then these ones are like camouflaged. They have different colors altogether. So that's cool. I'm guessing it's just like a different kind. That's why he did it differently.
we want to work on getting that cool alternative colour shift you see in the pictures. The first colour we're going to use is Warpstone Glow, and we want to alternate where we paint this on each side, so the darker areas are next to the lighter areas, creating a sharp contrast between the two halves of the blade.
Okay.
Remember, we should be thinning our paints. This is especially important when doing techniques like this, where we want some transparency, helping to create smoother transitions between the colours. The next colour we're going to use is Abaddon Black, and this is used to continue to darken our gradients. You want to try and have an equal spread of each colour. We can take full advantage of the translucency of the paints now to help blend our colours even more. Take your time using Warpstone Glow, a Baden Black, and Moot Green between the relative colours.
I'm not sure this is gonna look good, chat. I'm not sure I dig this. I guess we'll see. I have to trust the process.
You can thin your paints a little more if you think you need to. Let's go the other way now and go lighter. Mix an equal amount of Moot Green and Corex White and paint this on the opposite ends of the gradient. You can help the blend with some Moot Green.
Okay.
Even though the Necrons seem pretty simple to paint, they do give us the opportunity to try out some more involved techniques that are really going to impress most people when you show them. Let's finish the blades now, starting by applying some Nuln Oil directly into the recesses on the blade, being as neat as you can.
I like that, I like that.
Next, highlight all the edges using Moot Green.
Okay.
Finish the blade using our mix of Moot Green and Corex White to highlight those edges around the lightest parts of the blade where it's difficult to see the Moot Green.
Oh!
You should now be able to paint all the blades, including the Necron Overlord's staff.
Okay, I get it. It looks way better with the highlight at the end. Another way to do transitions on power swords is a technique called wet blending. That was with the washes, wasn't it? Like watercolor painting. I'm gonna guess that's what wet blending is.
Again, you can wait to do this until you feel more confident. The same idea can be used to brighten our...
Oh my god, that's so funny. Okay, I thought this guy... I thought this little guy was wearing a fishing hat at first. When I first saw it, I'm like, oh, he's a little fisherman. He's got a little fishing hat on. I realized it's armor. That makes more sense. It makes a lot more sense. Wet blending is not something I would get a beginner to try and do. Is that a challenge, Edward?
Our orbs rather than just leaving them the Tesseract glow. We want to work to a lighter colour this time, first using an equal mix of Moot Green and Corex White.
You see it though, right? He's got like a fishing hat. Okay, I'm glad I'm not the only one. He looks like Uncle Tim going fishing.
And then Corex White is the lightest colour. Now we've gone through the whole process for getting all your Necrons fully painted, I want to finish this tutorial showing you how to get their bases done.
Okay. Oh, the part they stand on, the base.
In this final section of the tutorial, I want to show you how to get all the bases done. To do the bases, we're going to be using Astral Granite, which is a technical paint. It's great to use on bases because when it dries, it has this texture to it that gives the impression of dirt or an area of ground.
Oh, yeah.
To apply it, we can use this texture spreader. Take some of the Astral Granite straight from the pot using the big scoop. We can then spread it around using the smaller end being more precise with it.
Oh, it looks like gravel.
For any of the bases that have scenery already on them, take some time to get these painted however you think they should be painted. When the Astral Granite has dried, you'll be able to see the texture it's created, but we can take this a step further and create definition and highlights on our bases as well. First, apply some Nuln Oil over the dried Astral Granite and any of the base details like the rocks and rubble.
Ooh.
Once the Nuln Oil has fully dried, let's give all our bases a light dry brush using Screaming Skull.
Screaming Skull? Wow, that makes it pop. Holy, every time he does the dry brushing or the highlights, I'm like, it's so much better. It's so much better. It just like, it makes it all come together. Vallejo makes really good texture paint. Ooh. I've just been looking at the Citadel paints to start. Wash plus dry brush is hacks, then you highlight. I'm so excited to do this. I'm so excited. I'm so excited. I can't wait to order minis and paints. Also, I think it was Italian Stallion, or was it Rickles? Maybe it was Rickles who wrote the list of paints I need for Necrons in the Discord, so thank you. I'm very excited. Wait, you guys hate Citadel paint? Oh, is that bad to use? It was like, what was recommended? Citadel paints are only okay, but I highly recommend getting Pro Acrylic. Ooh. I just tried the True Playground Sand and Elmer's Glue. I mean, that would work. That would work.
Finally, let's tidy up the base by painting the rim. I'm using Dawnstone here, but you could use a Baden Black or another colour of your choice. With that done, you should now be able to get your own Necrons finished. And I know we used a lot more advanced techniques on our Necrons than we did with our Ultramarines, but it's still very achievable as a beginner if you take your time. So let's see how these Necrons turned out.
They look cool. They look really cool. Yeah, I like them. I think mine are gonna look like that, chat. They're just overpriced paints. I'm probably gonna use them because, like, it's really easy to find color codes of people who use Citadel paints for beginners. I think yours will look better. Poor Hammer has an episode on what colors to buy from what company. Oh, that's great. Get the Army Painter metallic set and base color set, and you're set. And you're set with that set? I think you can quickly reach that level of painting. I think I can too. I might just be like the overconfidence and ego, but I think I could do it. I'm naturally crafty. I'm really excited. I love painting. I water paint, which is like similar. Not really, but kind of. You can find the color codes for other brands. People recommend Citadel to stay in the GW influencer program. Oh, wait, can I get sponsored by GW if I use Citadel paints? Everybody use Citadel paints. And that's all I have to say about that. When you paint long enough, you end up with lots of different paints and paint brands. True, that's true. You have your favorites.
Our Necrons are now finished, and I hope I've been able to give you the confidence and knowledge to go away and paint your own and continue to build up your collection. I've made a playlist of all the other tutorials on the channel that I think will be useful to you, so make sure to go and check those out as well.
I will!
I really enjoy making these tutorials and I hope you find them useful. You can really help the channel by liking the video and commenting below. You can also support me at Patreon, which makes a massive difference in helping me make these tutorials. Make sure to subscribe if you don't want to miss out on future content, and I'll see you in the next video.
Bye! Thanks, Tabletop Ready. That was a great video. I actually learned so much in that video, just from like all the basics, the basic layering to do. This star is sponsored by Game Workshops. It can happen. I would be so happy if that happened.